Welcome to Michelle's Opinions. This episode of Michelle's Opinions is explaining light language, the forms we receive it, and more information. There are many forms that light language comes into our awareness. Whether we're seeing synchronistic numbers, or codes, or patterns, speaking in light language, or tongues, or the heavenly language, being able to capture through photographs light language and be able to pull the codes out in order to share with others. All of these are ways of activations or confirmation of activations that are going on within our DNA, within our gifts and abilities, our chakra system being cleared out, and becoming sovereign, aware, creative beings that we are meant to be. So I found an article to help explain a little bit about this as I put out my first light language codes for you guys, and I will be doing more of this as I have just become aware that we have been receiving light language codes that are shareable for years now, and they're very deep and profound understandings. And as I always tell everybody, we need to share what we know so we can listen and grow, and that goes for me too. So I will be sharing these in, like I said, in depth on Patreon, but I will be doing them here on YouTube as the public can handle them. So I'm not trying to overwhelm anybody or overdo them. So if you're ready to get more in depth on these light codes and can handle more, you may check over there and see what is available. So yeah. Anyways, let's get to this article and then we will discuss it a little bit, so that way we get a better understanding of what's going on within us and what all of this is doing for us. I am inserting the Fair Use Act because we are using it for the purposes of criticism, news reporting, teaching, and parody. So yeah, this article will also be listed in the show more notes, so you can do more research into the topic so you can get a better understanding of what is going on with each of us.
What is light language? An explanation of light language by Yvonne Perry. Light is information that contains the codes of creation. Geometry is the foundational structure for art, science, music, and architecture. Its images, codes, and shapes are found in DNA, crystals, atoms, mandalas, hieroglyphs, and pyramids. The language of light is a sacred geometry produced by vibration. Light language is a powerful sacred gift that gives purposeful expression of love from Creator. Join Yvonne's next online class to activate your light language. In an altered state of consciousness or in your dreams, you may be able to see the geometric symbols contained in all of creation. Light language allows us to pick up information from realms beyond what is commonly accessed. Therefore, it is a beneficial ascension tool that allows us to interact with our guidance team, nature, animals, and one another on a deep soul level. What does light language sound like? From animal sounds to clicks and pulses, from tones and songs to spoken dialects, light language has many expressions. Listen to samples of Yvonne Perry using light language. Some people have begun hearing a mysterious dialogue or language in their thoughts, or may awake from a dream having telepathically conversed in galactic dialects. Many have been spontaneously doing hand and body mudras, singing, dancing, and toning as they speak languages they have not learned and do not understand. Some are seeing visuals, like sacred geometry, or hearing galactic dialects in their mind. These ancient sounds may be a universal root language predating those developed subsequently on Earth. The remembrance of light language seems to appear for some having a Kundalini awakening or after being attuned with Reiki or some form of shamanic healing. The frequencies of light language bring in intense energies that help with spiritual activation, processing shifts in consciousness, facilitating light body restructuring, and getting information/guidance needed. It connects us to higher realms where we have a better understanding of our multidimensional experiences. Is light language the same thing as speaking in tongues? Many who received the gift of speaking in tongues, tongues of angels, when they were in a religious setting have recently realized the validity of this communication with higher realms of consciousness. From a metaphysical point of view, light language allows us to communicate directly with Source without the interference of the programmed human mind while activating light codes to assist with healing and restoration on all levels. These various unlearned languages can be used for healing, light body activation, interdimensional travel, manifestation of resources, soul retrieval, integration of soul aspects, and directing energy. The frequencies accessed by the use of light language can affect DNA, thus reconnecting us with the blueprint and template upgrades for the divine human. Watch videos of Yvonne's light language on YouTube. Is light language channeled? Some practitioners are channeling light language without knowing it. The singing of tones associated with sound therapy, the intuitive mudras and hand gestures, and the doodling that looks like Egyptian hieroglyphs, geometric figures, foreign languages, or algebraic formulas are all an expression of light language. We may have used this form of communication in other lifetimes or dimensions such as during the Golden Age of Lemuria. Some of the starseed languages are the channeled voices of galactic beings of light who are assisting us in healing ourselves and others. Some of the sounds of light language mimic the voices of animals. Some are tones, pulses, clicks, and sounds connected with the signals emitted by Mother Earth. As light language speakers, we are allowing our voices to speak for plants, elements, crystals, and other conscious beings who have no voice in our society. It doesn't really matter how we label it. Maybe we should call it heart language. Just keep doing it. It heals the healer as well. It's the energy of Creator's love which pretty much goes beyond all understanding. In the 3D world we have to call it something, and light language is a meaningful description for many. The results speak for themselves. Thank you, Yvonne M. Perry Bird Fellows. Spoken light language may sound like gibberish when you first encounter it. Yet, often the person who is hearing it seems to recognize it. I know this, or this feels or sounds familiar are some common responses I hear. The more you are willing to experience light language, the more normal it becomes and the more you are able to benefit from it. A book about light language. Sound has been used as a healing tool for centuries. Light language is a form of sound healing, which has the ability to reprogram our thoughts, emotions, physical health, and even our DNA. One important function of the language of light is to reunite and integrate multidimensional soul aspects from parallel lifetimes, incarnations, and dimensions. Yvonne Perry's book, Light Language: Emerging Activating Ascension Codes and Integrating Body, Soul, and Spirit, shares how multidimensional aspects of the soul are being incorporated into a unified expression of wholeness, and how light language plays a role in this process. Learn how to move in sync with spirit to bring restoration to all creation as you integrate aspects of your multidimensional soul for a unified expression of your highest self. In the book you will read/hear, there is an audio version of the book, stories from people who are discovering light language through writing, singing, movement, and gesturing. Discover the sacred artistic tools of light language as sacred geometry that can open DNA strands required for bodily ascension. The symbols of light language are codes that unlock, activate, or rewrite the Akashic records. They carry healing of your soul and an activation of its purpose. See Healing Light Language Symbols. This book is available in these formats. For eons, humans have been locked in a shallow understanding of who we are as spirit beings. While our linear thinking may help us feel safe, it can also limit us from communicating on a deep soul level with our Creator and higher realms of consciousness. It is when we bypass human reasoning, if only for a brief moment, that we tap into a realm where we join with something so pure and wonderful that it defies logical explanation. These moments allow us to know that our experiences in those dimensions are more real than our daily lives that greatly ignore the divine aspect of who we are. Example of Asmic writing. For centuries, we have used brain-to-brain connection with one another through our logic and intellect. In recent decades we have moved from a database of information previously accepted as truth to a place of knowing from the heart in a more loving and accepting way. Light language asks us to move into our loving heart space and express our divinity in everyday life. In the past few years, many people have been seeing orbs, grids, and symbols in their mind's eye. These are light codes coming from the primordial mother, the creatrix of all that is. She is sometimes referred to as Sophia or the divine feminine energy. The codes carry information and are intended to unlock dormant codes in the DNA and bring humanity out of the illusion of separation and back to oneness. Through these codes we become less programmed by the matrix and more aligned with our higher self. Thus, more authentic living with love and community support is experienced in our daily lives. Some people have acquired the ability to write the codes they see. Some have activated an intuitive language called light language. Also known as angelic tongues, ancient earth dialects, or galactic ET languages, it is a form of sound therapy that can help us connect with higher realms of consciousness. This is a step toward the oneness and wholeness we wish to create on earth. Attend a light language activation workshop. At one time on earth there was one root language that everyone spoke. At some point the languages were broken apart and segments were used to develop subsequent languages spoken in various parts of the earth. Light language is the root language that contains all languages. We speak the languages that contain the frequencies and bandwidth that we most resonate with. That's why not everyone's language sounds the same. We each have a piece of the puzzle, and the more we speak our part, the more we all connect and heal. We are multidimensional beings with many levels/layers of soul awareness. However, the body has been functioning with only a small amount of the soul in operation. The higher aspects of our soul are now interfacing with the human body as the body is participating in spiritual and physical evolution. The ongoing restoration process of the light body is essential to the ascension of humanity. This transformation requires a rewiring and reprogramming of the DNA that will result in a molecular reconstruction of the body. Light language is a vibrational tool to help us do this. Because it uses sound, light, pulses, movement, art, and other healing frequencies, light language is able to work on quantum levels of the soul. A recent upgrade to the human body template has caused many people to become extremely empathic as these codes are turned on or activated. Some people are able to sense, and even experience, the thoughts, feelings, and energy of people, animals, plants, and formless beings. Multisensory experiences are heightened as humans awaken. Get guidance through a galactic light language reading with Yvonne Perry. Transmission of light language. Light language is the language of the Creator. When spoken verbally, it can create, bring an answer, message, blessing, or healing as a response to an invocation a soul has requested for its highest good. It can shift energy faster than any tool I've ever used. Old thoughts, beliefs, and behavior patterns are housed in the subconscious and our DNA. Our DNA also holds light codes of the original Adam, perfect divine human. When activated, these codes can override and reprogram old beliefs and patterns that keep the body, mind, and emotions sick and in disrepair. How to activate light language? The best way to activate your soul's language is to be around others who are speaking it. When this cosmic energy is moving, All you have to do is allow yourself to be awakened by the loving current of your own divinity. Yvonne Perry offers classes to help you open to the language of light. These unknown tongues are languages we may have spoken in ancient times or past lives, perhaps on Earth, as in Lemuria or Atlantis, or in other dimensions. Many are galactic tongues used to communicate with our star family, spirit guides, and multidimensional soul aspects. Some are the languages of nature spirits. Light language speaks to the molecular, cellular, and energetic levels to heal the body, mind, and emotions. Anyone who is advancing spiritually through purification processes such as shadow work or inner child healing is likely to activate light language when the path to the soul's authenticity is clear. How is light language expressed? The language of light can be spoken, sung, danced, written, as asmic writing, gestured, intuitive sign language, or expressed through other artistic manners. The gestures of light language look like an intuitive sign language. They are positions or asanas that hold frequencies of light that are able to shift or realign energetic imprints that have been causing mental or emotional suffering. Light language emerging helps to bring understanding to a vast, new, and unusual subject, the language of light. When it spontaneously started happening to me many years ago, I had no exposure to it, no one to turn to and no immediate answers. A book like this is not only a catalyst for opening, but it becomes a lifeline for those having unique experiences as their telepathic communications begin to activate. With Yvonne's book, readers will come to understand their own multidimensional nature, their cosmic connection to their galactic family, and their ability to expand beyond limiting perceptions of self and life. Jemai Price, Light Language Channel, Healer and Teacher. Samples of written light language by Yvonne Perry. What are the strange glyphs or symbols I've been writing or seeing? Just like a picture can paint 1,000 words, one single sigil of asmic or automatic writing can contain as much information as a book, and for that matter, perhaps an entire universe. Like any abstract art, it is up to the viewer to interpret the message, which can be different for each person. See codes written by Yvonne's students. Yvonne writes and speaks more than a half-dozen dialects of star or light language, see her photo below with the blue background. Other samples here are from Mizuan Monrose, on lined paper, and Estelle Anameleron, on frame drum. Other light language codes. Why I do not interpret light language symbols. By Yvonne Perry. Light language is a heart language, not a mental exercise. While it can be interpreted by some people, when that happens everyone gets the same message and the mind jumps in to analyze. Much of the spiritual heartfelt experience is lost in that mental process. My role in working with light language is to engage with a galactic team of technicians, psychic surgeons, geneticists. As I hold space, they work to recalibrate the template and cosmic grids of the client's physical and subtle bodies. The light codes I speak are instructions for the DNA, the psyche, the cells, and the light grids of the body. Sometimes while doing a reading with a client, I may get clues or a few English words or phrases which urge the client to seek their own guidance for answers. However, I have not been led to the task of interpreting spoken light language or the symbols. While I channel these codes as I open to allow the sounds and writing to come through, I am not instructed to satisfy inquiring human minds. In fact, my function is to help people move away from the need to know or to receive information from others, and move into the heart to intuitively feel and discern personal information for themselves. Comparatively, I may not know whether a song is in the key of F sharp or whether a painter used raw umber or cobalt blue in his/her painting. Yet I am able to have a personal experience from listening to the sounds or observing the art piece. The same is true of light language. It will meet you where you are and interact with you accordingly. Hearing light language is like being in a sound bath that washes over every part of the physical and subtle bodies and soul, helping them remember and reconnect with the divine blueprint. I can't always tell whether the frequencies are working on an internal organ, a mental imprint, or an emotional trauma from a past life. I have a team of galactic technicians and psyche surgeons with diverse skills. Their loving cooperation allows a client to receive treatment in multiple areas at once. Clients report positive changes in the days following, and that is all the interpretation I need to know that this treatment is effective and ongoing.
So, as we just heard from the article, that light language comes through in several different forms, from the ringing in our ears to the clocks, the sequence of numbers, speaking in tongues, the heavenly language. I highly recommend that you ask for that gift to be switched on within you. It is beautiful, edifying, clarifying, and healing. My husband and I have been blessed with actually getting many photographs of anomalies taking place with light codes in them that I am willing to share with you. And they're for the purpose of activating your DNA, getting your heart opened up, letting go of the logical and debate of always wanting to know why, and going with the flow. Energy is a flow. It's a wave. It is something that we should be going with, not fighting against. As we're becoming alchemists and heading into the golden age, the age of Aquarius, otherwise known as, and going through this together with our hearts, not our heads. But I did want to put this information out because some questions are being asked about the light codes that I just put out for you guys. And that was a very simple light code activation that was transferred out as soon as I was able to see that, oh my goodness, there's light codes, and it takes an artistic eye to be able to share them. But the idea here is to activate the DNA within you, to connect you back with source so that you are getting your own light codes and communicating with all the help that is there for you as the sovereign divine being that you are, under the universal law of do no harm or encroach on others' free will. And as it was explained in this article about the empaths and that being a part of this activation, it should help you guys understand what is going on within all of us. And just ride it. Don't try to kick against it, because when you kick against it, then all you're doing is fighting the God Almighty Himself. Why fight against God's perfect plan? And it's just so amazing. I feel so blessed that I'm able to share these with you, and humbled. And I have so much gratitude for everyone who's going along on this journey and doing the refinement work that is necessary. Because it is work, you guys. I mean, to go from one way of thinking to going heart-centered into a whole new understanding. It just doesn't happen overnight. But it seems like things are speeding up for us. We are moving along very quickly. And I wanted to put something very positive out today. I also wanted to remind you that I have a playlist of master numbers and angel codes for those who are seeing the numeric patterns, if you are interested in looking into that. As My desire is for you to have your connection connected fully. I know that it takes some time and some affirmations and everything that I went through. I understand more than you guys know about all the different questions that rise up as we're going through this. But we're not alone in this. We're doing this together. So always share what you know so we can all listen and grow, and have yourself a wonderful day. I will talk to you soon.